Hi, I'm Dr. Roy Myers, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about Christian sexuality. I'm the author of the book Playful Practice, Exploring God's Love Through Christian Sexuality. One of the interesting conclusions that my book comes to is that faith and sex actually go together, that a biblical Christianity and walk with Jesus actually is very congruent with a healthy, vibrant, and even indulgent sexuality and sexual relationship with one's partner. One of the things that we discovered in this process is that spiritual formation and formation as a couple, our sexual formation as a couple, really follow a very similar pattern. That spiritual growth often includes struggles, times of struggle and difficulty, that there's self learning that goes on. And there are seasons where we draw close to one another, and sometimes seasons where we need to separate a little bit to grow and learn. And this very much follows the pattern that the Apostle Paul talks about in Romans chapter 5. Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. That even as we walk with Jesus and walk through the difficulties of life and grow and develop our character, so as we walk together in our sexual relationship, we learn and grow together, coming to know more about God's love and to express God's love in a more holistic way. It also shows that sometimes God seems absent. Just as God can often seem absent in the Christian life, so sometimes God feels absent in our sexuality. Even in the Genesis story, God seems to disappear from the creation story for a brief moment, unfortunately, a very important moment. But in that moment, did God really disappear? Did God really lose control? Probably not. It seems that maybe God was still there. Maybe it was that the people lost contact with God. And so Christian sexuality is often a reminder that God is here with us, even when God seems absent. And it is in all times, even the difficult times, that God invites us. God gives us a personal invitation to reach out, to move toward each other, to move toward God. That God's invites us to dive into love with exuberance, to work out our sexuality just as we might work out our salvation with fear and trembling, knowing that it is God who is to will and work for his good pleasure. And it is God who provides a trusted presence, that he never leaves us or forsakes us in the journey, both in the spiritual journey and in our sexual journey as couples. And finally, this process gives us hope. It gives us hope because we know that there is a God out there, even if we don't always feel his presence or know what he's doing in our lives or have a deep sense of what the purposes is for all of the suffering we may be going through. We know that he who began a good work in us will carry it to completion. I hope that this is somewhat encouraging to you. And if you're interested, or if this has spurred some interest, please feel free to grab a hold of my book. Would love to have you read it and chime in. Tell me what you think. Have a great day. Bye-bye.